How did Ian Foster's tenure lead the All Blacks into uncharted and controversial territory? Few coaches in rugby history have faced as much scrutiny, criticism and outright backlash as Foster during his time as head coach of the All Blacks. From the moment he took over in 2019, many fans and analysts doubted his ability to maintain the All Blacks' legendary dominance. As his tenure unfolded, those doubts turned into frustration, then into outright anger as the team suffered losses that once seemed unthinkable. But what really went wrong? Why was Ian Foster so disliked? And did he truly lead the All Blacks into the worst era ever? Before his time in the spotlight as the All Blacks head coach, Foster was a well-respected rugby figure in New Zealand. He had a solid playing career, representing Waikato as the first 5'8" before transitioning into coaching. His coaching journey began with the Chiefs, where he served as head coach from 2004 to 2011. While he had some moderate success, his tenure wasn't exactly filled with trophies. Despite being in charge for 7 years, he failed to secure a Super Rugby title, which led to skepticism about his coaching ability at the highest level. Yet, in 2012, he was appointed as assistant coach to Steve Hansen for the All Blacks, a move that would eventually set him up for the top job. When Hansen stepped down in 2019, Foster was seen as a logical successor. He had spent years as part of the system and was familiar with the players and the All Blacks' philosophy. However, many fans and analysts believe that New Zealand Rugby should have chosen someone else, perhaps Scott Robinson, who had led the Crusaders to multiple Super Rugby titles, with an exciting and dominant style of play. The decision to appoint Foster was met with criticism from the outset, with many fearing he would struggle to keep the All Blacks at the peak of international rugby. It didn't take long for the cracks to appear. The All Blacks, known for their ruthless dominance, started showing signs of vulnerability. In 2020, they suffered their first ever loss to Argentina, a shocking defeat that sent waves through the rugby world. Suddenly, New Zealand's aura of invincibility was fading. Fans were left stunned, questioning whether Foster was the right man for the job. Their defeat to Argentina wasn't just a one-off. It was a symptom of deeper issues within the team's structure and strategy. The following year, the All Blacks faced more adversity. Back-to-back losses to Ireland and France in 2021 added fuel to the fire, raising concerns about the team's direction under Foster. New Zealanders were not used to seeing their team struggle in such a way, and frustration boiled over. For a country where rugby is almost a religion, the All Blacks' struggles felt personal to many fans. The biggest blow, however, came in 2022, when the All Blacks suffered a historical home series defeat to Ireland. Losing at home to the Irish was unprecedented and led to New Zealand dropping to an all-time low 4th place in the world rugby rankings. Suddenly, the unthinkable was happening. Teams that once feared the All Blacks were now beating them with confidence. A major criticism of Foster was his inability to evolve the team's tactics. Many believed he was trying too hard to replicate Steve Hansen's approach without truly adapting to the modern game. Under Foster, the All Blacks often looked predictable and lacked the tactical flexibility that made them so dangerous in the past. While other teams were innovating and evolving, New Zealand seemed stuck in a system that no longer worked as effectively as it once did. This rigidity made it easier for opponents to analyse and counter the All Blacks' game plan, leading to losses that would have been unheard of in a decade earlier. Statistics don't lie, and when compared to previous head coaches, Foster's record stood out, but for all the wrong reasons. Steve Hansen boasted an impressive win rate of 86.9%, while Graham Henry before him had a similar dominant record. In contrast, Foster's win rate hovered around 69.6%, a significant drop by All Black standards. For a team that had set the benchmark for excellence in international rugby, this decline was unacceptable for many fans. It wasn't just about numbers, it was about the fact that the All Blacks were no longer seen as the undisputed best team in the world. Under Foster, the All Blacks also broke records that no one wanted to see. In 2022, they suffered their first ever home loss to Argentina, a result that sent shockwaves through the rugby community. New Zealand had always prided itself on being nearly unbeaten at home, but under Foster, that fortress was crumbling. Such results only intensified the growing backlash against him. With calls for his resignation reaching a fever pitch, fans were frustrated, and the media was relentless in questioning whether Foster was capable of turning things around. The pressure on Foster reached its peak in 2022, when New Zealand faced a must-win match against South Africa. With speculation swirling that he could be sacked if the All Blacks lost, the team delivered a crucial victory, temporarily easing the tension. However, the debate over his future was far from over. Many felt that a single win wasn't enough to raise the concerns that had been built up over his tenure. His position remained under intense scrutiny, and every match felt like another test of his legitimacy as head coach. One of the biggest criticisms of Foster's tenure was his communication style. While previous coaches like Hansen and Henry had a commanding presence and a clear vision, Foster often seemed more reserved and cautious in his public statements. This lack of strong leadership in the media further fueled doubts about his ability to lead the team effectively. Fans wanted to see confidence and authority in the head coach, but Foster's demeanour often left them unconvinced. Despite all the criticism, it's important to acknowledge that coaching the All Blacks is one of the toughest jobs in world rugby. The expectations are immense, and every loss is scrutinised in a way that few other teams experience. Foster's undoubtedly faced a challenging period in world rugby, with other nations improving rapidly and closing the gap on New Zealand. However, many believe that a stronger, more innovative coach could have navigated these challenges more effectively and kept the All Blacks at the top. As Foster's tenure came to an end, opinions remained divided. Some saw him as a coach who was simply not up to the task, while others believed he was dealt a difficult hand and did the best he could. Many pointed to inconsistent performances, surprising selections, and a lack of adaptability in crucial moments as reasons for his struggles. However, supporters argue that he faced challenges beyond his control, including injuries, squad transitions, and the lingering effects of the pandemic. Additionally, the pressure of leading a legacy-laden team like the All Blacks with such high expectations was immense. Despite the setbacks, Foster also achieved some notable successes during his time in charge, including maintaining a competitive squad. Under his leadership, the All Blacks managed to stay relevant on the world stage, securing victories against some of the best teams. Yet the question remains, was it enough to silence the critics, or were the failures simply too glaring to overlook? One thing is certain, his time in charge will be remembered as one of the most controversial periods in All Blacks history. The question remains, was Ian Foster truly responsible for the All Blacks' decline, or was he simply the wrong man in the wrong era? What do you think? Was Ian Foster unfairly criticised, or did he deserve the backlash he received? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more in-depth rugby content. See you in the next one, and thanks for watching.